Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
My name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today, but first, I have a question. Jeff.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I baked a coffee cake today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been getting into baking, and I wanted to try it, like just a brand new recipe I haven't tried before, and I was like, this seems simple enough. And I made a coffee cake, and it turned out pretty good.
Cool.
So
I saw you posted it in our Discord.
Right, yeah, in our Dinner Party Conflict Discord channel, yeah.
Yep.
Skylar got me a mixer because I wanted to get into baking, although I haven't been able to use it because I have to get it replaced, but whatever.
Sure.
I think I mentioned that before.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, today I was like I still have I have a food processor thing. I was like, you can for certain recipes you can use a food processor instead of a mixer. You just gotta be careful because sometimes they can overmix things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to overdevelop the gluten. That whole thing,
Okay.
Well, it's basically if you knead dough too much, it becomes like the gluten becomes overdeveloped and you end up with really chewy bread.
But Jeff, I really need it. Sorry, go on.
So yeah, no, I just Skylar really likes coffee. She has I got her a fancy espresso machine years back. And so she really likes coffee. And so I should make coffee cake.
Sure.
So she could have a slice of coffee cake with her coffee. And it ended up turned out pretty good. I want to try some other things with it. Cause it's a very basic, cinnamon brown sugar streusel topping. But I want to try because when you get coffee cake from you want to do store-bought coffee cake, it's a little bit more pastry flaky, and it's got probably a cream cheese icing or something on it. So I might try to do something like that too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
So yeah, fun baking stuff. Whatever. It's fun.
Sure.
What you been up to?
So work still sucks. I can't remember how much I complained about that last episode, but I do have 2 whole days off this weekend.
Oh, nice.
However, yesterday they still made us work 2 extra hours. Halfway through the shift, they sprung that on us. Oh yeah, you're working till midnight today.
Yeah, surprise. Overtime.
Yeah, but whatever. I've got 2 days off. I'm gonna try to make the best of them. So you made some coffee cake last night. I made some. I'm gonna see if I can pronounce this right. Spaghetti aglio olio.
Oh sure, yeah.
I think is how I've heard it pronounced. It's spaghetti with garlic and oil. It's apparently the most popular pasta dish in Italy or something.
Yeah.
According to one of the videos I watched, anyway.
Aglio olio. Shoot, which one? It's because it's just oil and garlic, or.
So what you do is you take a bunch of cloves of garlic and you slice them super duper thin.
Yeah.
And then you put them in cold olive oil, and then you slowly heat it up so that you're infusing the olive oil with the flavor of the garlic while the garlic is roasting. You don't want it to get too hot too quickly. And then you cook some pasta, you drain the pasta, and then you toss the garlic and oil, toss some parsley, some red pepper flakes, some black pepper, and then you just toss it all together, and and some Parmesan cheese as well. So I grated some Parmesan cheese for that, and it was really good.
Yeah. I feel like I've made something like that before. Either that recipe, or I think there's another one that has lemon in it or something.
I think some of them do. Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, but that is a very popular, it's very simple, a very simple popular Italian pasta dish.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you want to go ahead and jump into this episode, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay. I want you to imagine that you see one of your buddies. You see old Greenscale Johnson,
okay.
the local prankster.
Yeah.
You see him, he's strutting down the street, he's wearing his varsity jacket or whatever, and He sees you and he says, "Oh, hey, Jeff. Oh, you got something on your shirt right there." And he points, just like the second button on your shirt.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Okay. What's down there? I look down, but it's like, okay, this is another one of his pranks. Let's see what happens this time.
You look down and he does that thing where he moves his finger up and hits you in the nose.
Oh, didn't see that one coming.
Fell for it again, old Jeff.
Yeah, I just walked right into that.
Well, hey, Jeff. All right. Real talk for a moment. Let's set the pranks aside. I want to say thank you for being such a good sport. And he holds out his hand to shake your hand.
I was like, oh, all right. I mean, yeah, harmless pranks. No hard feelings that I shake his hand.
Okay. As your hand makes contact and you see the world around you start to swirl and turn colorful and warp away, you hear him laughing and he's like, "Ha ha, that was a trick handshake. I just warped you to the dragon's hoard."
Oh. Pretty good prank.
I guess it was actually, he was actually thanking you in his own way. So he teleported you to a giant pile of treasure.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
All right, so today's magic... why the heck was that the intro to the Dragon's Hoard?
I don't know.
I don't actually know. So today's magic item was submitted by Dustin via Discord. And this is... See, I usually try to make them sort of thematically similar.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what I was doing with this one, Jeff. But the item today is the Bloodstone Amulet of Omanata.
Okay.
And the quote is, "The wailing of your soul has summoned me. I offer a path to retribution." Again, I don't know where I was going with that.
I feel like maybe that'd be something someone would say if they were in a really heated prank battle prank war with somebody.
Yeah, maybe.
The wailing of your soul has summoned me.
Omanata, I'm going to say, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it the way that Dustin wanted. Omanata is known by many names, but these are rarely spoken aloud. Ooh. An entity of unknown origin, he manifests to those crying out for vengeance beyond their reach. His offer is always the same, a dull red stone set in a tarnished copper chain. Inscribed beneath the stone are the words, "The death of one damns two." Upon donning this artifact, the amulet fuses into the flesh of the wearer, imbuing them with otherworldly power. Their strength and constitution are set to 20. Ooh. They no longer require food or rest. They are proficient with any weapon. They are compelled to continuously seek the death of their antagonist. Should they be struck down, they will respawn in 1d4 days. When the target of their vengeance has been slain, Omanata returns to collect the amulet and the bearer's soul. They are instantly killed with no save and no chance of resurrection. They spend their afterlife in the domain of Omanata, complementing their deeds. The amulet can be removed only by one who truly has need for vengeance on the same target. The second person must immediately accept the amulet and all the consequences.
Huh.
So yeah, this is an artifact that is also a curse, I guess. It makes you super powerful and unkillable. However, once you kill the target of your enmity, this god or whatever, this entity, shows up and kills you and takes your soul.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Yeah. No food or rest is it's powerful, but it's not like a Warforged. That's a Warforged, you know?
Yeah, there are, uncommon magic items or whatever that do that same thing.
Right. So nothing like game breaking there.
Sure. Strength and Constitution being 20, that's a pretty big deal.
That's a pretty big deal, but again, it's still achievable in other ways.
Yeah, a belt of giant strength is higher than that.
Yeah. Proficient in any weapon. I don't think that's gonna not gonna break any game.
Yeah. The respawning in 1d4 days is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. And depending on the group and really it's just okay, it's just an easy resurrection. Mm-hmm. But I the coolest thing about this is you're just like you become, you're impelled to continuously seek the death of your antagonist. So like you're driven by this thing to kill the big bad evil,
whoever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, or you know, whoever like killed your parents or something, you know, if you're a ranger.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. No, like I think this is really cool because this isn't like this could be used for like you can give this to a player.
Sure.
This could be an equalizer. Like this could be like, okay, like this character is like sort of fallen behind for whatever reason. Here, now your strength and constitution are 20. Your character already wanted to set out and kill the big bad evil guy.
Sure.
So no real change there. It's just now it's like now it's like tied to the story that you got to do it, and there's a big consequence for it. But you know, maybe that player has already decided like they will at any means necessary kill this evil person or whatever, so they don't mind that they have to die to do it.
Sure.
Or you could give this to a villain.
That's true.
You can give this to the big bad evil guy who is like, and this basically gives them like that lich effect of a reoccurring villain.
Yeah.
Without it being a lich.
Okay, I didn't even think of that. That's true.
Yeah, because like, you know, it's the lich is a pretty like, you know, like you know, is a pretty well used big bad evil because it's like they're powerful, they're, you know, they're associated with they're inherently associated with evil stuff just because of the whole undead thing, which you know,
and they have a built-in, you know,
respawn.
Respawn. Yeah.
So this you can make it so that this evil thing is coming back, you know, every 1d4 days, and then the player is going to be like, is this guy a lich? This guy's totally a lich. And then they like prepared for a fight thinking it's a lich, and they're like, all right, yeah, I'm going to use all this like radiant energy because I know he's unholy. He's unholy for sure. I know that. Mm-hmm. And then they try something, and the DM's like, no, it just doesn't seem to do anything. Like you tried to turn undead, and no, he's fine.
Yeah. I feel like this could be an interesting plot device where maybe it is necessary, like one of the players has to take it in order to kill the big bad. But then once that happens, once they know that that's required to kill the big bad, then they also start looking for ways to circumvent eventually dying as a result.
Sure.
This strikes me very, very much like something from the TV show Supernatural. I just finished watching the entire series of Supernatural a couple months ago, and I've also been listening to a podcast about Supernatural that's been going episode by episode, and I've finally caught up to where they are currently. They're not at the end yet, but they're like at the end of season 13, and it's taken me so long to get to it's there. But spoilers for seasons 9 and 10 of Supernatural for anybody who doesn't know. So in season 9 of Supernatural, there's this big bad that the main characters, the Winchester brothers, have to take down. It's this demon. It's called like a Knight of Hell, I think is what the actual classification of demon is. And in order to kill it, the only thing that can kill it, supposedly, is this knife called the First Blade, which, according to the mythology of the TV show, was the blade that Cain used to kill Abel back in Bible days, back in the very beginning of Bible days. And so they eventually find Cain. Cain is out there still alive. He's a white guy for some reason. And then they find Cain, and Cain says, you could use the First Blade, but it won't actually do anything for you unless you have the Mark of Cain. And so after some shenanigans, he ends up bestowing the Mark of Cain on one of the main characters. And then from that point on, the main character has this mark that at first you think is just, it just lets him use this powerful weapon. And then, you know, no downsides. However, as everything in this show becomes very clear that the Mark of Cain has its own, is a curse, basically. It lets him wield this weapon. It also makes him incredibly deadly. However, it drives him to kill kind of indiscriminately. And so it starts turning him evil. And so then a big part of the series is like, okay, well, so we got the first mark, or got the first blade, we got the Mark of Cain. Now how do we get rid of the Mark of Cain so that we can move on after we're done killing this big bad? And so a big part of the show is then trying to figure out how to get rid of it. And part of getting rid of it involves you can't get rid of it unless you pass it on to someone else. There's no way to actually just get rid of it. So that definitely, there were some shades of that in this quote unquote item, the Bloodstone Amulet. And so I just think it could be a really interesting thing if the players get it because they have to, not necessarily because, it'll make me super powerful, but because we need this. We can't beat the big bad unless we have this. But now that we have it, I don't really want to die. I don't want to, spend eternity in the domain of Omanata contemplating their deeds. I want to keep on living. So now there's another quest about either finding a way to get rid of the mark, or the amulet, finding a way to pass it on to someone else, or finding a way to kill or stop Omanata.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So, just different things that can come out of this. I think it's like some of the best Magic items. It works really well when you kind of build the campaign around it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential in there. It's definitely really cool. Like you said, Jeff, it's not really game breaking. I would say maybe a legendary. I mean, artifact, because of the fact that it's created by this entity or whatever, and it's not really something that can be recreated. But power-wise, the most powerful thing by far is the respawn in 1d4 days, but there's already ways to do that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. I think it works best as a plot device, but, try it out in your games and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, it could be cool.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Hoard today. So thank you, Dustin. Once again, that was the Bloodstone Amulet of Omanata. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that name not at all like you intended. Jeff, if anybody else wanted to be like Dustin and they wanted to submit magic items for the Dragon's Hoard, or they wanted to submit stories for the Funeral Pyre, or they wanted to submit questions for our main segment, how would they get those to us?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com or join us on our Interparty Discord at bit.ly/interpartydiscord.
That's correct. So before we go any further, we have a giveaway to give away today. As usual, we're giving away a copy of 3 supplements from Crit Academy, the Warmind, the Skybreaker, and the Werecat, as well as a few other things that Justin is sending out too. And so we're giving away these great supplements. They're character options, 2 class subclasses, and a race. So bunch of cool stuff in there. So Jeff, who is the winner of these 3 or more supplements today?
Our winner today is Stacy.
Winner. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yes. Congratulations, Stacy. No other last name given, but I guess you know who you are. You know who you are.
Oh.
Thank you very much for entering. Be sure to leave Crit Academy a review. The more reviews they get, the more feedback they'll have they can use to make future products better. Also, the more attention they get, and so on. Thank you, Justin from Crit Academy. Good job, Stacy. Jeff, if anybody else wanted to become like Stacy and win a free copy of these great supplements, how would they enter the drawing?
They would send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com with Crit3 in the subject line.
That's correct. Do you love Interparty Conflict? You know, the show you're listening to right now?
Yeah!
Then check out their Patreon at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. You can help support the show and get tons of bonus content too. Access hundreds of outtakes, dozens of short stories, periodic updates about the behind the scenes of the show, personalized media, a monthly Roll20 game run by Gabe himself, and more. Every month, Green and Red Tier patrons get access to the bonus podcast, InterPatronConflict, where Gabe and Jeff cover a wide variety of topics. Join right now and access the most recent episode, which might sound a little something like this.
I saw me slide it to him. He saw me slide it to him, but it just was not there. It just snapped, disappeared. So we were both completely confused because we both saw that I had handed it to him. I tore that desk apart. He looked all over the floor where he was. I looked in crevices I didn't even know existed. And as far as I know, that card was never found. It just glitched out of the matrix.
Right, yeah, it could have just been like a crack in the wood of the table or something that it just slid into.
But here's the thing. When we broke that table down because we were moving to a crappy building.
Right.
I mean, I worked there then. I still remembered that incident as I do now. I was there when we took that desk apart. There was no library card.
It's people needed it. It had to be somewhere else.
That library card died on its way to its home planet.
Right.
Once again, go to patreon.com/InterPartyConflict to help out the show and access all that bonus content today. And then just one more quick thing. Check out the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. Check out Crit Academy, critacademy.com. Justin, Ian, and Austin create new and reusable content for players and DMs alike. Also check out the other podcasts that are on various stages of hiatus. Check out D&D Character Lab. Garen and Dan made characters every week and pitted them against each other to debate whose characters were better. Check out Brute Force and Ignorance. They're an actual play podcast. And check out The Kind GM, where they were giving out GM-specific advice every week. So check those podcasts out. Enough of all the admin. Let's get into some questions, Jeff.
All right, our first question comes from Ravel G on email, and they ask, what do you think of the new Sidekick rules in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything?
Yeah, so Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I guess it's not as new now as when Ravel G submitted this question, but
sure.
Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is kind of a collection of a bunch of, I think most of the stuff in here started out as Unearthed Arcana, or at least some of it did. I know this in particular did. So the Sidekick rules are kind of a way that the players can have. It's probably the easy thing to say is that it's players can have sidekicks, but
right, yeah.
You can give the players a sort of a follower that can sort of fill a role in the party, both in combat and out, but also has a little bit of rules behind it, so that it's not just like, oh, you have a commoner, and then just guess at whatever stats they have.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting is that the rules for creating a sidekick say that you can kind of have a sidekick be just about anything.
Right.
As long as, I think the cap in the book at least is, I think it has to be a CR 1/2 or less. And then you kind of level them up like they're in a class. They level up whenever the party average goes up. So if they're at level 1 and then the party, they find a sidekick that joins them, then every time the party levels up, they would level up as well. Now, so at first I was thinking like, oh, okay, in the picture they've got like a turtle. Sure, an NPC turtle joins the party and, becomes an expert, which is one of the sidekick classes.
Yeah.
But then in one of the later pictures, it's just a wolf.
Yeah.
So like a wolf could be a sidekick, and then you just use the stats for a wolf, and then you add on the stuff that is in the stat block that you're choosing.
Oh, okay.
But so like there are 3 classes that are introduced, 3 like sidekick classes, and these are very closely in thematics, at least these are close to the 3rd edition NPC classes.
Right.
Because in 3rd edition, there were similar rules for if you wanted an NPC to have class levels, but not to actually be as powerful as a PC. Mm-hmm. So in 3rd edition, there was the warrior, the commoner, expert, and then adept was kind of just like a catch-all spellcaster.
Sure, yeah.
So in this one, there are only 3 classes, and they are the expert, the spellcaster, and the warrior. So kind of similar, but they get actual class abilities. In 3rd edition, the NPC classes were kind of just, here's your base attack bonus, here's your saves, here's your hit die, here's your class skills, and then that was it. In this, they actually do get class abilities, and they're not going to be as good as a PC, but they're still they're still pretty cool. And there's actually some things they get that PCs don't get, unless I'm mistaken, that I think make them a little bit better at being NPCs rather than characters.
Sure. Okay.
So the way that you make a sidekick is you start with any creature that has a stat block in the monster manual or any other D&D book that is a CR 1/2 or less. And then you apply you apply the template or whatever that's presented in the book. They give a few ideas on how you can run a sidekick. First idea is you let a player play the sidekick as their second character. So if you've only got two players, you can give one of them or both of them even a sidekick, and now each player is playing two characters. We've done that before.
Yeah.
Another option is that a player plays the sidekick as their only character. You might do that if maybe you have a player that is either less experienced and wants a simpler character, or they want a character who maybe is explicitly less powerful than everybody else. If they just want to play an actual sidekick, just give it to the player. Mm-hmm. You can have the players jointly play the sidekick. So you hand out the character sheet or whatever to the group, and then whoever wants to take control for the moment just grabs the character sheet and does so. Mm-hmm. Or the DM can play the sidekick.
Yeah.
I love how this is presented because it's kind of in order of which ones the DM should do.
Sure.
The first one is the best option, and then going down the list, the last option is the DM plays the sidekick.
Right. Yeah. Right. It is sort of just this is our recommendation, but if need be, you can just take care of it or whatever.
Yeah. So the different classes, I won't be going through everything that they can do, but the expert, for example, their first level ability makes them better at using the help action.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so they can do it as a bonus action at level 1.
Oh.
And then at level 11, they can add a D6 whenever they use the help action.
Oh, okay. All right, Gabe, hold on.
So in addition to giving them basically inspiration, you have advantage on it. They can also roll a D6 on top.
So this is just taking that whole owl familiar flyby help action to a whole new level.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh my goodness.
So the expert is all about having a bunch of skills. So they gain a bunch of skill proficiencies, and then they get more and more of them as they level up, and they get expertise, so they can add double their proficiency. They get a thing that lets them automatically treat anything below a 10 as a 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really good. They're the skill person. If you don't have a rogue or a bard or someone that's really good at skills, you can give the players a sidekick expert, and then they've got all the skills handled.
I don't have the book, so I don't know all the specific stats of it.
Yeah.
But do the ability scores change at all?
They do gain ability score improvements not every 4 levels. Actually, the expert is more than every 4 levels. So levels 4, 8, 10, 12, 16, and 19.
And is it specific ability scores, or is it you choose or whatever?
Oh, that's actually good. No, they choose. It's just the player ability.
Okay. And are there any adjustments to ability scores in the initial creation of the psychic? So, if you were to do a wolf, mm-hmm. Could you have a wolf with a higher intelligence than a 2 or 3 or whatever they are?
No. So the wolf is kind of a special case because of the 3 classes, in order to become one of these, there are a couple of requirements. To be an expert or a spellcaster, you have to have the ability to speak.
Okay.
But for the warrior, you don't. So the wolf is specifically a warrior.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So the spellcaster class, they get some proficiencies, they get some spells, but their highest level spell that they get access to is level 5. So they don't get 9th level spells or anything.
Which one gets the added help one?
That was expert.
Expert? Okay.
Yeah.
Does it get what are the prerequisites for expert?
To gain the expert class, a creature must have at least one language in its stat block that it can speak. That's the only requirement.
Interesting. All right. I guess that kind of gets around the owl thing.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to have an owl as an expert familiar.
Yeah. Well, the flyby help action that could be on a bonus action, so they can also attack or something.
Sure.
And then give them extra D6. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also, I totally do it if it was possible.
Sure. So the spellcaster similarly needs to be able to speak, and then their main thing is that they start off with a few cantrips, and then their cantrips get more powerful as they level up. But then their level 20 ability is that damage doesn't break their concentration.
Oh, cool.
Which I think is really neat. So basically, it's like they can cast buffs on you,
yeah.
And then no matter what, you'll keep those buffs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's their thing. And then the warrior just kind of gets a bunch of static bonuses to stuff. They can choose whether to get a +2 to all attack rolls, or if they can use that defender ability that fighters get, like that thing where they can impose disadvantage as a reaction. They get second wind. They get improved critical at 3rd level. They get a bunch of ability score increases. They get advantage on initiative rolls at level 7.
Huh.
They get a couple times. They just get like a bonus to their AC. They can re-roll an attack. They can re-roll a saving throw whenever it fails a couple times per day. And then that's basically it. Like, they're pretty much just a fighter with fewer specific abilities.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I think these are really cool. I think that there's a lot of potential with these.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea that if you wanted to, you could make an entire party of these, and those could be the players.
Yeah, I like that, and like I like because there is like technically there's more race options, because you could just anything that's what is it, a half challenge rating or lower?
CR 1/2 or less, yeah.
If you wanted to, you could be a party of wolves. You could be a wolf pack party. You're just warriors. You're just the warrior class or whatever. Like,
that would be so cool.
That'd be really neat. Like, we're a bunch of hawks. I don't know. Like, why not? I'm going through a list on the compendium on Roll20 right now, going through all the monsters by challenge rating. Homunculus.
Yeah.
They can talk. They can fly. Like, their challenge rating 0. So I mean, like, you just be a team of homunculi that are like trying to find their creator or something.
Oh, that is so good, Jeff.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find some other ones.
I'm reminded of there's the one-page RPG by Grant Howitt, The Witch is Dead.
Yes,
where you're all a bunch of familiars.
That. Yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was originally an Unearthed Arcana, and actually I sort of did a quick glance at both of them to see, and a bunch of stuff changed. Like, most of the class stuff is completely different. But one of the things that was in the Unearthed Arcana that is not present in the book, unless I missed it, is that the Unearthed Arcana actually said, like, as the DM, you might even want to increase the cap on this. So, like, the CR cap. So theoretically, if let's say the players are 15th level, you might want to give them a sidekick that's like a CR 5 or something, depending on the campaign and such. So if it was the players were all sidekicks, I think you could do away with the CR cap entirely and just say, give a specific cap to your specific players, and then they can all say, okay, so we can be anything a CR 3 or lower, or whatever it is you decide.
Yeah, which that's pretty cool. Like, because that really opens up a lot of cool stuff. But like, the mechanics are all still there. They're all there. It's all in the book, so it's not like you wouldn't really have to, like, you'd still have to adjust things to.
Sure.
Like, you're still going to make adjustments, but you kind of have to do those anyway as a DM for certain choices players make.
Yeah.
but that like all the rules and stats are there. Like it could be really fun.
Yeah.
Blink Dog.
What's CR Blink Dogs?
A quarter.
I thought they were like a CR3 or something.
Blink Dog, medium fey, lawful good. Yeah, it says a 1/4 challenge rating.
Jeff, I really want to play a Blink Dog.
Yeah.
And they have languages, right?
They can talk.
Yeah.
Gabe.
Dude, I want to be a Blink
They
Dog
have
spellcaster.
teleport. They can. They're Blink Dogs. Then they can talk. Oh. Yeah. This is great.
This is a really cool mechanic.
This changes everything, Gabe.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I just think that like for all the DMs that have DM PCs and stuff, I really think that a lot of them could benefit with doing something like this because yes, it is a way that they can play character, but it also has rules for like how they are less powerful than the rest of the party.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if you're putting in an NPC that's like 2 levels higher than everybody else and they've got all these cool magic items, you've already missed the mark. So if you have rules that are like, hey, maybe take this type of creature, CR 1/2 or less, and then give them this template and this class that makes them useful but not as good as the players. It's a much better starting point.
Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe, you know what's in the half challenge rating range?
What's in the half challenge rating range?
Swarms.
Oh no.
I have a sidekick. It's a swarm of wasps.
Who's playing the swarm of wasps, Jeff?
We all are.
Yes, we all are playing. What if we were all different swarms?
Just yeah.
Is there a swarm of bees or is that just a swarm of reskinned swarm of wasps?
Well, on like this is I think CRD stuff. So there's swarm of wasps, spiders, and then there's just insects, centipedes, beetles. Those are all in the half.
Okay,
there.
so reskin the wasps as bees, and they'll be your spellcaster with like a focus on healing because you can be like a healer specific spellcaster because bee venom supposedly has medicinal properties.
Oh sure.
So be a swarm of bees. That's your healer.
Wait, is this right?
What?
A rust monster is only a half challenge rating?
Oh, that can't be right.
This is the Roll20.net compendium D&D 5e monster list, and I arranged it by challenge rating.
How is a rust monster a CR 1/2?
I mean,
20th level PCs are afraid of rust monsters.
I mean,
My goodness. The CR system is broken.
Well, maybe the 5th edition like rust metal ability is not as nasty as it used to be.
I mean, it doesn't instantly destroy stuff, but it does gives you a permanent and cumulative -1 to everything. And if it drops to -5, then it's destroyed.
Oh,
so,
wolf.
But man, I want to play an expert rust monster who is a lockpick.
Oh, they don't have language though.
Oh no.
Well, why does the expert need language? Like I can understand the magic user one.
I'm pretty sure it's just so that you don't end up with like, oh, I'm a wolf that is a master lockpick.
That is so ridiculous, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Hey, if you're the DM, you can remove that requirement.
There's a satyr, a shadow.
Oh boy, a shadow.
Undead.
A shadow who's the healer. Every time they touch you to give you a cure moderate wounds or whatever, it does strength damage.
Oops. Yeah.
Oops. Sorry about that. Let me cast Lesser Restoration on you. Oops.
Oops. I did it again.
The pictures that are in the book, the picture of the expert has a turtle, a winged kobold, and a kenku.
Nice.
The spellcasters are a bullywug, a goblin, and a tabaxi.
Okay.
And then the warriors are an Aasimar, a furbolg, and a wolf.
Cool.
So
yeah. Warg is in there?
Sure. Yeah, wargs are kind of just more intelligent wolves that can talk.
Yeah.
We went over that last week.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Gray ooze?
Jeff, I need to play a Grey Ooze at some point.
Oh,
I have to do it.
Black Bear. You can play Sir Barrington.
All right, we won, guys. We won.
we did it.
We beat the game.
You can play Sir Barrington.
Yep. Sir Barrington, yeah, that's pretty great. I mean, you would have to be the warrior, of course, as the only the only option for the Black Bear, unfortunately. I guess.
One more option I saw.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 0 challenge rating, but Awakened Shrub.
These keep getting better, Jeff. Now, does the Awakened Shrub, can it speak?
Yes. It
there we go.
One language known by its creator.
So, okay. What skills? Obviously, it's going to be the expert.
Right.
What skills is the Awakened Shrub proficient in? Let me see how many it gets to choose from. Hang on. I closed the book already.
So the stat block for the Awakened Shrub.
Yeah, five skills you get to choose from.
Nice. It has one of it, like it has a rake melee weapon attack, but it has one ability called false appearance.
Yeah.
While the shrub remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from a normal shrub.
Okay.
So it could be it could be like a stealth shrub or something.
Okay. Here's what you got to do. If you are playing an Awakened Shrub, you have to carry around a pot with dirt in it. Because now you can go anywhere.
Right.
You're sneaking through the castle. You hear some guards coming. Set the pot on the ground. There is now a shrub in a pot in the hallway. Nobody thinks anything of it.
No one suspects a thing.
No one suspects a thing. And then you can wait until the guards are asleep and you can slit their throats.
Oh, whoa.
Because you're a shrub.
Because you're a shrub. Why not?
Yes. Gotta have lockpicking in that case.
They're resistant to piercing damage, but vulnerable to fire, which, that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah. So I actually really, really like the Sidekick rules. I had sort of glanced over them when I first got Tasha's a long time ago. But I actually looked over them, in preparation for this episode. And it's a really cool system. Mm-hmm. I love how it's explicitly, it's not necessarily explicitly for non-player races, but it is very, very welcoming to non-player races.
Yeah.
And it's explicitly weaker than a PC, so you don't really have to worry about them overshadowing unless everybody is just so excited about the Awakened Shrub being a member of the party. I can understand that. But I love it. I think that there's so much potential. I love the idea of an entire party of sidekicks. I think that that's such a great concept. I don't want to complain too much about the Adventure Zone, but one of the draws of the Adventure Zone graduation, which just ended, one of the draws of it was that, hey, the players are sidekicks. They're not heroes. However, that premise got dropped about 3 episodes in, so that's a bit disappointing. But the fact that it was such a draw for people like myself is because we would love to see that. To see a party of sidekicks is such an inherently cool concept because we've seen heroes. All of us have played as heroes at some point. So to say, yeah, sure, you can play the goblin that the party picked up in the first session. They can go off and start their own adventuring party, and then that's what the campaign's about.
Right, because there is that that cliche of the party taking enslaving a goblin or kobold that they found in the first dungeon.
Oh my goodness.
But now you can just be like, okay, fine. Yeah. Here's his stat block now. Cause we have rules for that.
Jeff.
What?
Play the kobold with the bell.
Kobold with the bell.
You tricked the party into going down the wrong hallway. The party all died. You escaped with the bell. You started your own adventuring party. You come back to the dungeon later and you have to fight zombies of the party.
Oh God. I'm just imagining the kobold starts its own like order of paladins or something like that, or like, paladin like warriors, and like their holy symbol is the bell,
Yeah, I was thinking their weapon was like you use a bell as a flail or something.
Yeah, like the I think isn't it just called the hammer? Like the clanky thing of the bell, I think that's just called a hammer.
Oh yes, yeah.
So yeah, it's a hammer. They use a hammer as a weapon. I'm wondering is, what challenge rating would you be able to set the cap at that would make it so that like it would maybe level out the power. So if I, instead of being a player race fighter, I wanted to instead be a monster of a certain challenge rating warrior, like I guess it would really be specific on the creature itself.
Yeah, it would probably take a person by person approach to figure out exactly what that is.
Yeah, because if I just like I really wanted to be, hold on, let me just let me go down to like challenge rating 3, a Minotaur.
Okay,
which I think there is now a player race Minotaur.
I think
through I want to say it's the Ravnica one. Either the Ravnica one or it's the there's the one that's like more based on like
the Mythic Odysseys of Theros, I'm pretty sure has a Minotaur race.
Yeah, that might
there's actually one in both, in Ravnica and Theros.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean like that's still that's an option obviously, but I mean like a Minotaur would be like before that, like without those I'd be like, I totally want to be a Minotaur. Like it's large size, it's strong, it can charge, it's got all this cool stuff. Like if I just put the warrior on top of that,
sure.
Would that, would that be a power equivalent? Maybe, I don't know. Like, would that be a little bit stronger, maybe at the beginning, but not quite as strong later down the line?
Sure.
That's probably how it would end up. It would be like, you would, if you chose something more powerful to start as, you might be at or slightly above the rest of the party at the beginning, but as the game went on, like the stuff that you got from the warrior class wouldn't really keep up with the rest of it. But also thinking like doppelgangers, being able to change your shape like a doppelganger is pretty ridiculous.
What's a doppelganger?
3.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so I'm looking at I'm looking because like there's some good stuff in the 3 below range.
If you increased it to a challenge rating 2, you know what you could be, Jeff?
What's that?
A mimic.
Yes,
play as a mimic.
You play. That's really good. You play as the chest that the party keeps all of their treasure in.
That is great.
And you protect it and everything.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I thought mimics could speak or at least understand a language, but I'm not seeing one in their stat block, so they would have to be a warrior, unfortunately.
I guess, but still, it's still cool though. Like, there are dragons in challenge rating 2.
Oh boy, Jeff, a mimic that attacks with the weapons that have been stored inside of it.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
There's so much potential with this, people. These mechanics are amazing.
It's free real estate.
Yes.
I'm just, because you don't have to limit, like, because there's not like hard and fast rules. This is how you get a sidekick. It's more just like, if you want your players to have a sidekick, here's the how to do it. Because I mean, like thinking back to 3rd edition, there was the leadership feat.
Yeah. That's probably the closest analog to.
Yeah,
something like.
And
this.
It was like it's a specific feat that you needed like prerequisites for. You had to have like a high enough charisma.
I think you had to be like level 6 or something before you could take it.
Right. Yeah. So you had to take like there was some like feat you had to take before it, I want to say, and then you took the leadership feat, which then would give you a cohort, and which had to be a certain number of levels below you, like 5 levels, I think. Yeah,
I think it was 2 levels. 2 levels lower. So it was actually kind of broken because you got so much more that you could do by having another character only 2 levels below you.
Yeah, because
and then you got a whole bunch of followers, and depending on your charisma plus your level, the chart, you could get like 100 followers or something if you
right.
If you wanted.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want it, you could have a small army of NPCs at your at your beck and call. But yeah, it was like you would take a feat, and then you'd get a second character that was just a couple levels lower, which is something I did in Eberron, which was a lot of fun. So like I was playing a Warforged Paladin that had I think he was either human or half elf or something, but I ended up he was a monk cleric, and I took the Sacred Fist prestige class.
Yeah.
So I was like that was really cool. Like he was very mobile. He could spring attack.
We've talked about that on the podcast before.
Right. We won't go into that. But it's a lot of fun, but it's like, like you had to there was a way to just do it as part of your character progression. In this, as far as I understand, there's not it's not a player option. It's more just an option that the DM has to give the players.
Sure. And, we don't have time to really get into all of the intricacies of having a DM PC, but I would say in every case where a DM wants to have a PC in the party, they shouldn't. But if they insist on it, it is better to create what would essentially be a sidekick. Make a weaker character, a character that is more passive than active, and then have them story-wise, there's lots of reasons to be like, yeah, no, this person is just going to be going along with you and helping you do whatever. So the sidekick rules are a great way to do that if it's necessary.
Gabe.
Yeah.
It's a challenge rating 1.
Okay.
Animated armor.
That's pretty good. I was just looking at flying sword.
Just be a set of somebody's gear.
Yep. Oh my goodness, Jeff.
Like the party is just the equipment of a dead adventurer.
Yes.
Oh.
An adventurer dies in a wild magic area or something.
Yeah.
And their gear becomes the new adventuring party. We have to do this for a Patreon episode or something.
That's amazing.
This is too good not to use.
See, this is one of the best editions that they've made.
Yes.
I have to say
100%.
this is one of the best editions that they made. Because you could do so much with it, and it's great.
Yes.
I think that's also the book where they added the group patrons, right? Because that was in the Eberron.
Yes. It was in Eberron, but this one has setting agnostic rules on it.
Yeah, which was that was one of my favorite things that they've ever added. That's super cool.
Agreed. The more I've thought about it, the more I've liked this. But even from the very beginning, I understand this is very good. This is a very good addition to the game.
Yeah, because you really could just make a party of whatever the heck you want, and the rules are there for it, and you just go okay, there's going to be some encounter balancing issues maybe, but
sure.
You're always going to have that.
Yeah.
The game is always going to be a lot of work, but at least, but the trick is to make the fun outweigh the work.
Yes. I mean, maybe these might not work for a full campaiin. Who knows?
Right. Sure.
But at least a one shot, you'll get a ton of use out of this.
Yeah. I think this is great. This is amazing.
This is very good.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go too crazy on the challenge rating, but honestly, you can have some fun in the 3 below range. So you can have a ton of fun.
Sure. All right, I think that'll do it for this question. Thank you so much, Revelji, for getting us to actually look up these rules and figure out what can be done with them, because this is fantastic. I really, really like the sidekick rules. So yeah, that'll do it for our regular questions for today. But before but we do still have our social media questions. Our last social media question was, if you could play a tabletop RPG anywhere in the world, where would you play? Do you recall if you had an answer, Jeff?
I can't remember if it was anything specific, but it just really boils down to outside where the weather won't be an issue.
Yeah.
Like if there's too much wind, your character sheets fly all over the place. If it's raining, everything gets wet. Like it's like somewhere like that is outside with a view, but is at least sheltered enough that where it's not like gonna be an issue. So like a covered deck or porch or something, that kind of a thing, but in a really nice area, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I think when I asked this question, it was because I similarly wanted to say just like anywhere outside, because we had been having really nice weather.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then it snowed a couple days ago.
Right. And then it snowed. Yeah.
So don't know what to say. Yeah. So we got a few responses, not a ton, but that's fine. Over on Facebook, Sean M says, I'd love to play in some abandoned French, Albanian, Irish, Turkish castle basement. Get the D into my D&D. Wait a second.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. But no, that is really cool. Like a legit in an actual dungeon. Yeah. Oh, there. I actually, it was like a really old naval base or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it? It was in, I don't know if it was in Finland. It was near Helsinki. And like, it was like this island base, and it was like stone structures.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there was like this one building that I went into, and then like, there was like a stairwell down, and it was just pitch black. And I was like, I physically could not bring myself to go any further because it was just so dark and just like scary. It was just very ominous.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would be a really cool, like kind of a place to play D&D. Like it'd be really cool if I could, not be too chicken to actually go. Like I didn't have like a good source of light. So like if I had an actual like a good flashlight or something, I maybe would have gone down, but
sure.
But yeah, that sounds really cool.
Brandon B on Facebook says, your crib, homie, duh. I guess, yeah. Makes sense. Over on Reddit, Alstar the Minotaur says, 2 different places for me. Either in Königstein Fortress in Germany near Dresden playing on the battlements, or in one of the Hobbit holes in Hobbiton Village in New Zealand.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Either place would create an incredible ambiance, both very different for obvious reasons, that I think would make for some really awesome D&D sessions. Yeah, makes sense. Pruno says, over the graves of my enemies.
Okay.
Fair enough. That's Carl with a K on Twitter says, when I did a lot of sea time in the early 2000s, or when I was at Alert in the high Arctic, there was always people playing D&D. Now I regret not joining them. I think of all the fun I missed. It makes sense that if you were to like go to, the Arctic or whatever, there would probably be some nerds there that were playing D&D, I guess.
There's probably some nerds there. Yeah.
Over on Discord, we got a few more. Those other ones, we only got a couple on each one, but I got a few on Discord. The picture that I put for this was a bunch of people having dinner on top of a snowy mountain, all dressed up and everything. And Peaceroy Pancake said, well, not there for sure. So, yeah, fair enough. She then went on to clarify, I'm thinking, oh boy, how do you pronounce this? Neuschwanstein in late autumn. I don't know if I pronounced that right. It was literally built to be a fairy tale light castle. Sorry to anyone that thought that's just what German architecture looks like. So it has the perfect vibe, and it has all kinds of quote unquote modern amenities. So I imagine we'd be quite comfortable. I think Ludwig II even built a dinner table that could be pulled up from the kitchen into the dining room. Though if I remember correctly, that's in the unfinished part of the castle. Also, I'd stipulate that it'd be just us and no tourists.
Sure. Oh yeah. I'm taking a look at it right now. Actually, that's pretty.
Yeah. The beverage tea also said Neuschwanstein. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I probably am not.
The surrounding area is very beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Peaceroy put up a picture of it, and it looks pretty nice. Stiltskin Kupo 84 says, I heard there was a D&D club in British Columbia that is basically half the town up there. I would love to sit at their table once. Also, I hear that the majority of Mackinac Island plays D&D outside of tourist season. I'm curious what it would be like to play there once too. So
what?
For anyone not familiar, Mackinac Island, if you think of Michigan as a mitten, or at least the lower peninsula of Michigan is a mitten, there's a little island just between the top part of Michigan and the top of the mitten that is Mackinac Island. And I've been there once, and there's you can't have motor vehicles there. Everything is horse-drawn carriage.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense if it's, it's a pretty small community. It'd be pretty cool if the people there played D&D when tourists weren't around, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He went on to say, I also have a buddy in Phoenix whose entire family plays, and now they produce their own board game. It would be very fun to play with them sometimes. There's a multilingual D&D game I'm developing with a group of awesome people. I'd love to play that internationally. But in order to avoid naming literally every cool place internationally, I think I will say I've just always wanted to visit Japan. And so bringing that personally to Japan for them to try would be a lot of fun. But that is many years away yet. Yeah. Dustin says, Moaning Caverns, a massive cavern so dark that without lights, it is like being blind. Set up a table, some lanterns, and you're basically in the Underdark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Potato Plunderer says, I would play this horror game called Dread, where you have to resolve actions by pulling a piece from a Jenga tower. Take the game outside under the night sky and run a cosmic horror game where the unthinkable vastness of space is above you, and the only thing keeping you from disappearing into nothingness is gravity. Scary stuff. Autumn Wind says, The Moon, low gravity math rocks. And then Deborah Soar says a holodeck, which now exists. And she put up there's a video of some people doing VR in basically a really big holodeck, kind of.
Yeah, sure. You just have a big open warehouse space and everybody wears wireless VR headsets and you're just moving around in the space physically rather than using the controls to move around. You actually just physically move around and the headset tracks where you're going.
Yeah. And I mean, we've said it before. I'll say it again. I would love if there was a way to play D&D through VR. If somebody can work on creating a good, not necessarily virtual tabletop, although I guess that would be good too, but just a virtual dungeon builder that you could play D&D in with your friends would be so good.
Yeah. And I imagine there's tools out there right now that you could sort of do it, but it's not so accessible that it's anybody could just pick it up and do it.
Sure.
There are way more affordable headsets nowadays, but it's still I don't know. Yeah, it's not as accessible as it would need to be.
Yeah. That was our last social media question. Thank you everybody who wrote in. Our next social media question, going along with today's topic: have you ever been in a group where one or more PCs had a sidekick or follower? If so, tell us about it. Have you ever had a situation like that, Jeff?
Well, I had the cohort.
Sure. Right.
Whose name was New Guy.
Yeah.
Because he was the new guy. It was the new guy. It spelled it differently, but spelled it silly. We also had, I think was it the same adventure or the same campaign where we had the nimble right guy?
Oh yeah. That was basically my character's cohort.
Sure. Yeah.
He built a construct pretty much.
Yeah. And then there was the Red Hand of
Doom. Yeah, where each of us played two characters.
Right. So effectively there were two full level characters, but
yeah, story-wise, my character's my second character was basically the first character's sidekick.
Sure. Yeah.
Or his lieutenant specifically, I think is what it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we've done a little bit of this.
Don't you have your chronic S block?
Oh yeah. So I had, my cleric had a cohort that was, we made a lot of use out of the leadership feat in 3rd edition. He had his cohort fighter that was his sidekick. When I was playing as Ichi in, I think the first session, either the first or second session playing as him, we were going through some little tiny village or hamlet or something, and as we were getting ready to leave, one of the villagers came up and he was like, hey, I want to go with you guys. And he had like a little bindle with, a bag of his belongings on the end of a stick. And he was like, yeah, I think, I see you guys are big, strong adventurers. I want to be like you guys. I just want to go with you. His name was Donovan. And I think he might have specifically latched on to my character, Ichi. I can't remember if maybe I'm inserting that part myself. But he didn't really participate. I think maybe once or twice he fired a crossbow or something. But
sure.
He followed along with us, and he was there for the good, there for the bad. I'm pretty sure Ichi got him killed at one point and felt really bad about him. I mean, we brought him back, of course, because it's D&D, but
sure.
It was just really cool. Like, it was not, by no means was it a DM PC. He didn't really do much of anything, and when he did, all the DMs were swapping, we all swapped up DMs, so it's not like one of them in particular was trying to play the game through Donovan. It was just a neat little thing. It really did make my character feel like he was a famous hero, because I've even got people that are looking up to me and wanting to become an adventurer because of me. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what some of our listeners have to say.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for our questions for today. But before we close out, let's wind down. Let's relax. Let's take a deep breath. Let's remember those who have come before us, who have given their lives that we may have a better world to live in, as we toss another log onto the funeral pyre. Today's funeral pyre was submitted by Vamp Demigod via Discord, and they said, for the funeral pyre, the story of my first party wipe. It was my second time DMing, and we had a group of 3 players running a third-party one-shot that was supposed to be playable for 3 to 5 players of first level. Lo and behold, the party did great, progressing quickly through the adventure, until they arrived at the final fight. It started off strong, the cleric taking out some of the cannon fodder, while the fighter and rogue took on the boss, a gold-plated skeleton with a gem in its forehead, I believe. The boss had a small HP regen ability. I don't remember exact details, but they kept on coming very close to killing the boss, and then missing enough attacks that it would heal. Unfortunately, the fighter eventually succumbed to the boss's quite weak attacks. The rogue then decided that it was the perfect time to feature his flaw. I run away from danger. He hightailed it out of there and hid at the entrance. The cleric was subsequently knocked out, and the rogue discovered and captured by a party of skeletons. He then proceeded to attack them and was knocked out himself. Now, I was new to DMing, but I know the classic play of, you all wake up as prisoners instead of a party wipe. However, the module specifically stated that the skeletons, as mindless undead, would not use non-lethal damage. So I had the party roll death saves. The cleric was the only survivor. When he awoke, he escaped with 1 hit point. I know this because I still have the sheet with current HP marked. And decided he would go back to the bar where they started and drink until he died of liver failure. The player's request. So ends the story of my first party wipe, and how I accidentally made 2 players quit D&D for 3 years.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's
rough.
That's a story. That's a story right there. So I guess let's raise a glass in memory of these brave adventurers, or not so brave adventurers, as we say, here's to our health. Clink. All right, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. Join the discussion on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Reddit, we're on our Interparty Discord, or we're on Twitter at InPartyConflict. Check those out for our weekly social media questions. Your answers might end up on the show. Find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe, or just tell a friend. If you'd like to support the show, check out the rewards at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. We have a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, would go towards making the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, tell us about FriendQuest.
FriendQuest is a YouTube channel where you can watch us play video games.
Yes, I've actually been playing some of Binding of Isaac Repentance.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to get to some of the new content because the save file I have on my computer doesn't really have very much progress because most of my progress has been on the Switch.
Right.
The Switch doesn't have that expansion yet. So I'm trying to get through enough of the PC version that I can start getting into the new stuff.
Yeah.
So check that out. Also head over to bit.ly/InterPartyConflict to take a short survey about our show, what you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games, courtesy of Mary and Tom over at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hacker's RPG. So, Jeff, until next time...
Holy outros, Batman!